red button, that red button. So everything else, I'm so sad we didn't record the Waluigi poem, but I'm sure that the next two rounds will make up for it. Adrienne, who's next? Round one.
All right, up next for round one, we have Julia Gaskill. Julia Gaskill is a professional daydreamer hailing from Portland, Oregon. She's competed multiple times on national stages and has toured with her poetry across North America. Her work has been published in Meads magazine, FreezeRay Poetry, Knight's Library magazine, and more, and has been featured on channels such as Button Poetry, Slam Find, and Right About Now. She's included. Okay, all right. Right About Now. She was included in the 2020 anthology In Absentia and collaborated with the band Impulse Control on track Television off their latest album. She released a spoken word album, Stout-Hearted Bitch, in October of 2019, and her debut poetry collection, Weirdo, is forthcoming through Game Over Books in September 2022. Follow her at Geek Girl Grown Up or facebook.com/ggaskpoetry. Everybody giving up for the delightful human, Julia Gaskill.
Hello. Hi. On the one hand, it's so good to start a show off with Steven because he's so high energy and it really gets the ball rolling. On the other hand, it sucks for me because I'm going to do a lower energy poem. I'm going to now try to put some high energy into it. But I wanted to kick off my poems with something that has been published on FreezeRay, because FreezeRay has been very kind to me and published me, I think, 5 different times now, because I write a lot of pop culture poetry. And also I have to do a poem about Muppets because I love the Muppets a whole heck of a lot. So this poem is called The Wembling of a Muppet Fan's Heart. In 2017, Steve Whitmire is ushered away from the role of Kermit the Frog, and the internet forgets how to cope. And by the internet, I mean Muppet fans. And by Muppet fans, I mean like 300 or 400 or so people. And this is not the first time I have watched a temple be torn down by my community or by my own brain. This is not the first time I have dug a grave for a person still living, to admire a celebrity with the whole of you, only to tuck them away, pretend you never loved them, is a hurt we must bury within ourselves. How do you begin to talk about the death of an obsession? How Steve was the first I truly admired. I mean, obviously after Jim. Jim is everyone's first, but Steve gave me a reason to stay. The golden-haired, wide-eyed youth who was all smiles and laughter in his earliest days. My first Kermit. If anything, I cannot deny him that. How Steve picked up the reins, allowed this franchise to keep on. I know he was not alone in this, but still, he was the one who said, I will do it. Did not flinch, well, maybe once, but still. Took up the green, dusted off the banjo, brought back the rainbows. To watch this man be consumed by the ugly and the cruel has left me gutted, has flickered out something sacred in me. How he turns a sea of fans into a war zone and calls it justice. And here is the thing that eats me alive. To love a franchise so heavily dominated by men is more difficult than I can say, yet I do it. Say this franchise is worth my time and my love. Say these are good men whom I can trust, only to find betrayal on their tongues. Maybe that is the challenge of it all. To feel a closeness to these performers, address them by first name in conversation as if we are old friends, only to realize we know nothing about them, only to feel used at day's end. I dig the grave deeper and deeper and deeper. I place his name at the bottom and promise to not come back, but I know that I will. I know I will come back each and every day with flowers, always fresh and always beautiful. And always green. Thank you. First poem done. You ding.
It's Muppetational, and we love it. Never gonna turn down a Muppet poem. Well, we have turned down some Muppet poems, but not Julia's Muppet poems. They're so good. Thank you. Adrienne, who's up next in round one? I don't know why I'm talking like I'm a cowboy. That's weird. I'll stop.
Yeah. All right. Also, that was really wonderful, and my heart needed that. Our next reader is Joshua Nguyen. Joshua Nguyen is the author of Come Clean from University of Wisconsin Press, winner of the 2021 Felix Pollock Prize in Poetry, and the chapbook American Luke Bot for My Mother, Bull City Press 2021. He is a Vietnamese American writer, a collegiate National Poetry Slam champion, and a native Houstonian. He has received fellowships from Kundiman, Tin House, Sundress Academy for the Arts, and the Vermont Studio Center. He has been published in Wildness, the Texas Review, Auburn Avenue, and elsewhere. He has been featured on both the Versus podcast and the Slowdown. He is the witty co-editor of the Offing Mag, the Kundiman South co-chair, a bubble tea connoisseur, and loves a good pun. He is a PhD student at the University of Mississippi, where he also received his MFA. Please give it up for the wonderful, the fantastic Joshua Nguyen.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, for getting us together. I'll be Gambit, because that's where I think my poker skills will come into play. If someone in the audience would like to keep time, do this when I get to 3 minutes. I'm just joking. I'll start with a poem that I also got into FreezeRay a while back. I'm following Julia's suggestion of doing that. That's like such a good place to start, as I'm being reflective of my past years. There's no echo, right? There's no echo. Cool. This is a poem. It's a conversation between Mr. Peanut Butter from BoJack Horseman and Clifford the Big Red Dog as they discuss life and death. The universe is a cruel, uncaring void. So I think the best course of action involves a whole lot of spaghetti and a whole lot of strainers. You know the story about the tree, the one that becomes a stump in the end? I can't imagine the sky as it looks falling. I dread the day I sit and sit until the cushion explodes and the door doesn't open at 6. Who will hear me moon howl? Sorry. If I died, I'll be too big a carcass. Post-mortem, my forearms would feel guilty. They'll become fences in the ground. And if you're fast enough, you'll find me in between. The key in finding happiness isn't just a search for meaning. It's for someone to find meaning in me through belly rubs. Many Halloweens ago, when I was a puppy, Emily took me trick-or-treating, but the mask and hat didn't fit, and I was still a happy clown. I only understand sadness by tone. I hear frequencies no one else can. I wonder if I'll hear the final breath after the final words. Since my ears are above the clouds, perspective becomes a neighborhood. Emily rides my back bare, and I wonder if she'll use me as a lighthouse. The hills praise my bark. The return waves find me. I am the hell's echo and overcast. I attack the mirror, and it wobbles. People call me a gentle giant, pigeons nesting in my ears. I always want more affection since human-sized hugs feel like nothing. I cannot believe this weather we are having. All the sunshine on my skin reminds me that I'm still alive, and this is why I wear V-necks. The breeze feels great until quail season. Emily likes to drive with the moon roof down. I've never put my head out a car window, but I heard it's nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua. That's I love that poem so much. It's it sounds hyperbolic to say, but when as an editor, when those kind of poems hit my inbox, that really validates why we're doing this thing, why we're creating this space for, folks to ruminate on their fandoms and their pop culture loves, and how it heals them, helps them. And yeah, I'm going to stop diatribing and hand it back over to Adrienne, who's next.
I'm not done crying over that poem. It's fine. I'm fine. All right. Speaking of crying, and one of my favorite people I love to cry with is Gigi Bella. Gigi Bella ranked the 10th woman poet in the world, a 2-time Project X Bronx Poetry Champion, as well as the Best of the Net and a Pushcart Prize nominee. Fun fact, we are also sitting in the room with the founder of Project X, Noel Quinones, also aka Gigi's best friend. She is also a National Poetry Slam semifinalist and champion, a Pink Door Fellow, and a Button Poetry Video Contest semifinalist. She has also been featured on stages with Andrea Gibson, Sabrina Benaim, Olivia Gatwood, and many others. Her work is featured on Button Poetry, Slam Find, and in a variety of literary journals. Her book, Big Feelings, is available through Game Over Books and is a small press distributor bestseller. You can find her work at gigibellapoetry.com. Please give it up for the wonderful, this ever sparkly Gigi Bella.
Hi. Oh my goodness. Hello. This has been a really horrific 2 weeks, and this reading has been all that's like literally keeping me going, and maybe Olive Garden breadsticks like a little bit, and also maybe just Adrienne's face and Noel's face and just being in a room with beautiful people. I don't know. But I'm very excited to be here. FreezeRay has a very special place in my heart because I love pop culture poems so much. And I'm thinking about friendship and like being Latino and all this stuff. So I also am gonna start out with a poem that is in a FreezeRay journal. This poem is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it is an ode to Luis in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ode to Luis in Ant-Man and the Wasp. The first time I heard the word Chicano in a movie theater, Stan Lee, comic flick, imaginary world of triple panel heartbeat. Here, we are only ex-con best pals. Use our memories. Speedy Gonzalez, comic relief. Wrong turn at Albuquerque. No te gusta más. They got one thing right. Give us a dime and we never stop running our mouths. Personification of Abuelita's Morrissey jukebox. Melancholy Mexicana. Tristeza, the Marvel movie, is never about us. But here we are, making an audience laugh in the face of life or death, solidifying joy as survival, heroics. The white folks look at our joy like liability, like we ain't got a serious bone in our brown bodies. And this isn't a movie about the house my parents lost, boyfriend running from the border, the incarcerated uncle, pantries full of church food boxes. We had to get through all that shit too. All are dead and dying. That's how we end up the joke. Make it all easy to chuckle at. We've had so much practice laughing when it seemed like the end of the world. In this movie, everything is big and small. We can't escape time, destined to return to a crow's flock of flittering dust. The bad guys steal the secret lab, the past, a universal future. Luis is losing a business, but make sure no one ever steals his joy. The most Chicano thing I know is the howling gut, proof you have lived through it all. Mad cheesin', riding off in the purple lowrider Hot Wheel whip, unapologetic, loud, happy. What kind of bravery to be alive, still telling jokes, laughing like you never lost anything at all. Thank you.
Gigi, thank you so much. That's, yeah. Obviously, I like the poem. It ended up in our journal. But yeah, I remember reading that for the first time, and it just bloomed off the page when I read it for the first time. So good to hear it in your voice, and it fully realized. That's amazing. Thank you. Whew. Adrienne, save me from myself, please.
Oh, Gigi, one of my favorite things about your work is the amount of light and joy that you bring into each poem. And this next poet that I'm going to be introducing is also one of my many favorites, who I've like flung myself at social media, like, hi, you're the coolest, please be my friend. And that is Noel Quinones. Noel Quinones is a Puerto Rican writer, educator, and community organizer from the Bronx. He's received fellowships from Poets House, the Poetry Foundation, Canto Mundo, Tin House, and the Sundress Academy for the Arts. His work has been published in Poetry, the Latin American Review, Quelly Journal, and elsewhere. He is the founder of Project X, a Bronx-based arts organization, a poetry book reviewer from Muzzle Magazine, and a current MFA candidate in poetry at the University of Mississippi. Follow him online at Noel P. Quinones. Please give it up for the wonderful, delightful author I'm most excited to have on my shelf next, Noel Quinones.
Hey, oh, I've been beaming the whole time, the whole show. This is beautiful. We just started. Thank you so much, Adrienne, for inviting me to be a part of this. I also want to share my love. You know, FreezeRay was one of the first publications to publish me ever, like in my entire poetry career. So I've always had a very special place with FreezeRay in my heart. And just to be here with two of my loves, Joshua and Gigi, is super, super special. All right, so you know we doing pop culture out here. So I'm gonna read probably my favorite pop culture poem that I've done in a while, and it's an ode to my family. Because the reason I love movies is because my parents love movies, and so it's all for them. So let's do it. Blockbuster fever. 1. My parents met working in a movie theater. This is the only true thing you need to know. It was the 80s, and you were either starstruck or hustling. Once, Papi got Theo Jr. a job, and he set up a poker game in the break room. His hands flew like orchard seagulls, but his mouth even faster. When they escorted him out, he yelled, "I'll be back," in perfect Austrian accent. Everything was bartered in movie quotes. Shame was the dropping of an actress's name before the shift ended. Once, Junito won 5 straight bets on the 1983 Oscar winners. He used to steal young golden hearts and cut tickets for only his homies. Titi Millie barricaded some rude-ass sucios inside Return of the Jedi for fucking under lightsabers. And once, or perhaps many, many times, my parents filled an empty theater with a fumbling of light, kissing as Letty and Mimi heckled them from the projectionist booth, spelling out the letters of their demise right as Kevin Bacon danced lonely, all 4 eyes watching his hips, his jaw, the Reverend booming if our Lord wasn't testing us a sudden flashlight. Popcorn meteoric, the whole earth turned upside down by the breaking of rules too. My parents are dragging me out of cross-county multiplex after the first 3 minutes of Big Daddy. Christy Swanson's bright red bra seared into my memory as mommy seethes, "Cover your eyes. This isn't PG. Papi, much less a discipline, much more than a disciple in this church where everyone haloed his name. Beverly, an elderly remnant of the real feeders, who knelt upon the sweatered carpet and said, 'Your dad was the best boss I ever had.' We all spoke in forevers after Y2K. Theo Chris must have been magic then. For Celeste's 10th birthday, he made a large pizza pie and 2 liters of Pepsi completely disappear. During the trailers, he pulled styrofoam cups from behind my ear, yanked knotted napkins like silly string from my empty pockets, pulled paper plates from underneath his Yankees fitted, all my cousins, friends, and I more in awe of him than Spy Kids 2. Our knees, a chain of bobbing islands, soda and pizza grease lapping at our joy, his thick hand teeter-tottering on my shoulder as he boomed, "That's how it's done, kid." 3. That unforgettable summer, Boppy, Grandma Celeste, and I went to see White Chicks at Bay Plaza, and our chests shook like manhole covers, and our hips bent the red cushioned seats into the letters of our laughter, and our eyes finally broke water to land, a flood not seen again even at Titi Millie's funeral, as Grandma leaned her chin to whisper the first curse, "This shit is funny, Nene." The way you can tell a theater in the hood from a theater anywhere else. 4. Netflix fucked everything up. 5. There is nothing like a blockbuster trip, nothing like the clockwork of our bickering, the looping again and again of a nostalgic bounty, returning to its center to argue over the bundles of DVDs whittled down always in his favor, my father, the connoisseur of the classics, VHS box sets of Indiana Jones and James Bond, men who didn't take no for an answer, who knew any fixed fate demands a sacrifice or 2 6. I didn't listen to my mother when she spoke in movies, always sneaking into one more dark theater before summarizing the last. She unspooled a lineage of escaping, Castaway, Enough, Shawshank Redemption, Catch Me If You Can. Each rental was a message, all her best fictions begging me to see 7. My Parents' Marriage is my favorite movie. To know the ending but still buy into the stars. All the scripts I've written to their story, all the faces I've replaced with theirs. The only time they reminisce with a smile, a ticket stub slowly splitting between their fingers. Thanks, y'all.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's dope. My first job ever was working in a movie theater. So in the summer of Batman, Tim Burton's Batman and Do the Right Thing. So it doesn't date me at all, by the way. But I have obviously a fondness for movie theaters. Thank you so much. So it's time for round 2, and I know Adrienne put the quick list up in the chat, but I'll kind of go over it again as well. Basically, probably the easiest way to do this is I'll say who's about to read, and then I'll also say who's on deck, so no one's freaking out. I did these in a random order because I like to use dice. So that's what happened. So round 2 starts with Julia, and Noel, you are on deck.
Get out of here. Okay, so this is not the last poem I wrote before the pandemic, but it was the last poem that I was like, oh, maybe, if I do slam, I can compete with this. And I memorized it and I put choreography to it. I think I did it once at a slam, and then there was a pandemic and I forgot it. So I just re-memorized it in like the last month. We'll see if I actually have it. All right. A psalm for windy torrents of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. I do not know what it is to be a hunted doe. Even before the gleam of the axe became an element of your story, you were running, stationary, but running through the woods in every action you performed. Whenever the headlights of Jack's eyes flashed in your direction, you'd freeze, knew what might happen when this man you swore had changed was his true self. Windy, you were painted as timid, non-independent, but still you screamed when the bruises were all over Danny's neck. Still you picked up the bat, then the knife, became your own kind of hunter. Your film persona has been described as vulnerable and weak, as if being a woman with a reasonable reaction to a man turning mountain lion before your eyes makes you any less strong, Shelley. Sorry, I mean Windy. What is there to say to heal the hurt of a man who I'm sure you truly admired, who everyone still speaks so highly of? Windy, You looked into the eyes of the devil and lived to tell the tale. You had to listen to this man condescend you for months, miserable, trapped in a hellscape of his creation, Shelley, windy. He raved about your meekness, told everyone not to sympathize with you. He turned everyone against you, Windy. I mean, Shelley. This man whom you thought you could trust told you you were worthless every day on set. Shelley. I do not know what it is to be tortured by a man for 5 months and for him to turn around and call it art. When we talk of the film The Shining, everyone is so quick to fawn over the brilliance of Stanley Kubrick and forget how he treated you, Shelley Duvall, his leading lady when the cameras were not rolling. Kubrick reasoned that his torment was for the sake of his film, demanded a masterpiece, wielded his words at you like an axe to a door, held up his final product to justify his hunting. And are women just stepping stones towards a man's betterment? Are we just game mounted on the wall next to all of their awards? To this day, Shelley, when you are asked of the experience, you say, of course it was worth it. Look at what a bounty he shot down, blood all over his hands, but his art has fed so many. So of course I'm glad I did it. Had this man at my throat for months, but the hair loss from all the stress, the physical illness that took its toll is nothing compared to those who call this their favorite film. The one where I never stop running. Not even when the cameras weren't rolling, not even when he stopped to reload the barrel, not even when I screamed and screamed and screamed. Thank you. That's the poem.
Word to that. Thank you, Julia. Damn. Yeah, I said in the chat real quick, Room 237 is a very interesting and fascinating documentary about the making of The Shining, and some of that is kind of touched upon in there. It's worth checking out. So Joshua, you are on deck, and Noel, you are
up. Wow. What an ending. So good. Thank you, Julia. I'm just gonna we're riffing, right? We're riffing off each other. So I'm gonna build on that. I'm gonna read one of my favorite poems about Hannibal Lecter. Just going on that note. So this is inspired by the TV show, which is one of the best television shows ever made forever. And it is so good and so horror and so gay. And so this is for Hannibal Lecter and Will Graham. In October, love. The truth is, it is rarer to find a real friend than a romantic partner. Tête de veau and sauce verte. It starts with a shared vision. Antlers, obsidian, a stag with the arched back of a male. When I crack your skull to goblet, who will spill out? Ossobuco. I cook 3 meals thinking of you in an empty kitchen. I toast myself over our dead daughter's severed ear, pulled from your trachea, translucent and earned, ouf, redu. Taste is not only biochemical, it is psychological, William. All these bodies just get in the way of ours. I call you friend as mask, evasive as my prey. Nothing scares me as much as you, Boudin Nor. Yes, your first kill was a marriage, as we grafted him upon a saber-tooth's landscape. Predator under predator, our fingers cystine with sinew, guiding each other's hands, silky black. I smell romance like sheep, pick at gruel and think it dinner. We are the black bone bird, namesake and vow, clay roasted thighs. I taught you the recipe of me. That night, I brought back our daughter, the teacup of her unshattered. Who else could remake time but one who loved you so? Mushroom and spinach stuffed heart, I let you know me. I dared give you such a gift, this dance of minds, a chiaroscuro of flesh, of tenderness, trut samune a blue. I caress the clock of your jawline. I whisper, you have changed me, Will. I slide the bird's beak knife into your stomach, gripping the back of your neck. I measure your worth. Kudal, intestine, curry, you are not sheep. In our little garden of gods, we tossed our person suits like scarves to the wind. Lomo saltado. I take our daughter by the throat. I reign her. O mortal, I divorce you. I let you live. Thanks.
Oh, I gotta unmute. Wow. That's amazing. There's a million quotables, and most of them ended up in the chat. Yeah, let's raise the bar, y'all. Let's fuck it. Let's keep it going. Stephen, you're on deck, and Joshua, you are up.
Wow, yeah, that. I would love to raise the bar, but I only have 5G, so this is I'll read. I'm reading a poem from my book, Come Clean. This surrounds a pop culture moment, a very niche pop culture moment. There was a time, there was this white woman on YouTube, and she went around and like randomly like kiss random Asian men in the street to prove something about Asian masculinity and Asian attractiveness. But it wasn't, there was no consent. It was, done poorly. So this poem is about that moment. So trigger warning or content warning for suggestions of sexual assault. It's called Exhaustion, but every time Leela Rose kisses a random Asian man in the street, a new stanza begins and the amount of words between the boxes increase by 1. Lips, dry, cracked, cornered, unsure, flustered, unconsented, befuddled. Click start, click play, click bait, unhinged jaw, shaky camera, misplaced fingers, white savior. Someone stop her. Someone tell her, not your handshake, not your duty, not your right, for a video, YouTube view counts, public display of, from a haunted past, trapped in the bunk, stuck under the sheets, trapped down the street, trapped in the massage parlor. If you let me, not enough time to respond. My tongue is not yours. You should ask every time. You should ask every time. You should ask every time. You should ask every fucking time. Every person who looks like me does not need your expert validation. Every person who looks like me isn't who we see on TV. Instead, we see people like you in front of people like me, trying to swallow the breath out of people whose eyes say, keep your pity. When I see you running up to kiss Asian people in the street, I remember every finger from my friend's friend that pinned my cheek to the ground, that told me to not be scared, who locked the room while my friend strummed split screen sadness to drown out the 1 year it snowed in Houston. I stayed inside watching Rush Hour 2, cheered when Jackie got to kiss on screen, learned there are 2 ways to be wanted, one being the pleasant calm you hoped for, the other where all your will is taken. Tucked between dimples dug deep from not reacting fast enough. You would not impose your saliva upon my enough. Your good intentions will not make myself masculine enough. You have no right to this body, this pain is not yours to suck, swallow, grope, damage, or burn. My burdens don't need your unsolicited healing. Say no more about how my struggle causes you drowning, and just listen. Thank you.
Boom. Thank you, Joshua. Damn, that's great. That's in your latest book. Is it Come Clean? Is that the one? Awesome. Yep. Cool. If you want to throw up any info into the chat as far as where we can find that, I think there might be some people interested. So awesome. All right, Gigi, you are on deck, and Stephen, it is your time.
It's you know, the tip of being like in conversation with the other writers is a great tip when you know the work of anybody that you are reading with. But I am irresponsible and don't do research and have been out of the world of poetry sort of corresponding to the length of the pandemic. And so I don't know anybody's work ever. And I didn't know how to be in conversation. I don't even know Julia's work and how to be in conversation with that. I'm going to do my best and kind of like take this second round going introspective, but I'm also going to do another persona piece. So this is from a NPC or non-poetic character. The hiker in Pokemon speaks. Growing up in Kanto, I always knew I was going to train Pokemon. I guess I just didn't realize that I would wind up here between Cerulean City and Lavender Town, just standing on this road. It's not all bad. I mean, I'm a hiker after all. I even got a great little Geodude. He's a rock type. And let's be real, I'm in my 40s, I'm a bigger guy, so it's not like being out in the fresh air is bad. But also, you know, once I found a good standing spot, I just kind of set up shop, wait for other trainers coming through to prove how strong my Pokemon was. You might not know this about rock type, but they're weak against grass and water. And you wouldn't believe the amount of grass types these kids are packing these days. They're strong against electric and fire, right? So, you know, I'm always hoping that it'll be one of them 10-year-olds what always chooses Pikachu, but not so much. So, yeah, I lose more than I win. And my Geodude, he gets pretty down, and we just kind of stand here, making sure not to make eye contact with anyone else who is also chosen, maybe to just kind of stand on one of these roads between the cities and the towns. You know, so many of us just standing, knowing maybe we don't have what it takes to be the very best. And that's okay too. I just mean, I get so lonely. Sometimes I just want my Geodude to turn around, you know, arms out and just bring it in. Just, you know, hold me for a moment. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cry here. It's just that rock type is vulnerable to water. I mean, I have spent so many hours standing right here on this road. It's inhuman. It's literally just an unreasonable amount of time. And the only people who look at me immediately want to battle. But in life, aren't we all looking for more than that? I mean, don't we start out looking not just to catch them all, but to find something so strong and grounding that we could build our lives around it? I mean, that is rock type right there. But then rock type is also hard and cold, like all the nights that I have stood on this road. And I know I should pack it in, but I was born in this place. Well, technically I was programmed in this place. I was probably born in a different place, but I walked. I'm a hiker. I walked to this place and I brought my Geodude to this patch of road. You know, the best Pokemon I could catch, the only Pokemon I could catch, if I'm being honest. I'm not going anywhere. Literally, I'm stuck here, probably forever. So I might as well make the best of it. No, make the very best of it, like no one ever has.
Yay! Thank you, Stephen. And you know what? That's as much in conversation with what's been going on tonight as anything, I feel. It's gorgeous. All right, so I'm gonna just do on decks for the third round. We're just gonna keep it moving. So Joshua, you are on deck, and Gigi, welcome back to the place.
Yes, hi, hello. I just am still like caught up in all my Pokemon feelings. I too have water because I'm fighting a rock type, so it's good. I'm gonna put on these glasses because they're fun and because I'm here with my boyfriend Tito, and he said that I look like if they did a Buffy reboot, but I'm Giles. and I'm just like, yeah, Giles, what up, fam? Giles, like that's just me right now. So we vibing. I'll read from my book. I swear I make stuff. And I'm good at it, I guess. I'm gonna read from my book, Big Feelings, The Biggest Feelings. And this is from the section of the book. Yes, there's a section about Stranger Things. Really hurt because this summer is my 10-year high school reunion, and the 4th season of Stranger Things was filmed at my high school, and the teaser features my locker that I was pushed into many times. So I feel just really hurt all the time. And I wrote this book before knowing that. Fuck you, Stranger Things. More poems to come. But this is a poem about how my mom looks like Barb from Stranger Things and all her pictures from the 80s. And it has a little disclaimer at the end. So it's called Justicia para Barb. In old pictures, my mom kind of looks like Barb from Stranger Things. Coke bottle lenses and a tablecloth floral in jewel tones, all trapper keeper and homework and curfew, calling home from a 7-Eleven payphone after losing her keys at a prescription pill party she wasn't supposed to be at, lying about a cash register so miraculously placed at Amy's house during their cheap fake lie of a slumber party, mint prom dress, lace and long Hepburn gloves, matching rubber band braces. I do not like to go most places alone, and neither does my mom. And I guess that's how we end up with each other, but also how we end up with people we don't really want to be with in places we don't really want to be. And Charlie was on the football team, and he was popular Charlie with all his popular Charlie friends at the popular drill team formal my mom needed a date to. And she didn't really want to be there with popular Charlie, but she still was. And that's, as the kids say, a mood. And popular Charlie thought it was popular to ask for a kiss at the door. And my unpopular mom said no, which was very unpopular. And popular Charlie did the popular thing and did what he wanted anyway, unleashed a small monster into my mother's maw. And anyway, assault is like a swimming pool we get sucked into at a party we didn't want to be at. And everyone says they can't find us, but maybe they just don't want to until the monster's too big inside us, eating us alive until he wins and it's too late. And in these stories, I picture my mom kind of like Barb from Stranger Things. And I guess I kind of look like my mom, and neither of us were very popular in high school. A note on Justicia para Barb. My mom ran into not so popular 40-something Charlie at her reunion. And my mom is hot enough to be stalked by every teen ex she had in the 80s. And not so popular Charlie is a drab troll Trump supporter. And I guess hate doesn't age well, IDK, but maybe there is some justice in the world, and we can't see it when we're with people we don't really want to be with in places we don't really want to be. But maybe when we grow up, we coalesce into the person we always were. Thank you.
Damn. Thank you, Gigi. Yeah, fuck Stranger Things. I mean, yeah, that's crazy. All right. Thank you once again. Hey, Gigi, also, you're on deck, isn't that? And Joshua.
Hi. Hi. Something weird happened. I think there was like some weird Stranger Things moment. I think Noel and I kind of got sucked into each other's universe, some multiverse. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but just know that like I'm here, and I don't understand this world. There's orange things and lobsters everywhere, and very good fashionable clothes I never owned. So. This is the last round. Thank y'all for having me. I'm gonna read a short poem. It's based. It's not based, but it's a cento based off a lot of Mitski lyrics. I had this bigger Mitski cento, and for the book, I tried to I had to talk to Mitski's manager and ask for rights to use all the song titles. And they were like, it's this amount of money. And I was like, never mind. So I ended up just getting rights to one of her songs. So I have rights to her song, Last Words of a Shooting Star. So this cento is based off, include lyrics from that song. Thank you again for having me, Rob, Adrienne. This was one of the best readings I've been to, just because of the energy, and I guess like getting sucked into another universe. So last words, an extended cento after Mitski. When they come for my things, there will be a note left on my pillow. I was going to live for all my cotton tees, folded all the same. Like, did you know the Liberty Bell is a replica? How it proudly shines its crack quietly. I inched away, silently housed in these original walls until I became beneath the primer. They'll never know how I stared at the dark in the room, but I watched my made bed every single morning that I couldn't have changed. No matter how smattered my insides, I am relieved that I left my room tidy, one less ugly sight. I always wanted to die clean and pretty while my dreams made music in the night. Thank y'all so much.
Nice. Thank you, Joshua, so much. That was amazing. Quick funny story. When back in 2014, 2015, I had a very brief run of trying to do a small press for FreezeRay. And our first book was based on St. Vincent songs. And what I thought would be what it was going to be a great promotional thing was to put trading cards, like, you know, like Star Wars cards in with the books. And my friend David, who's a brilliant illustrator, drew this amazing St. Vincent trading card, complete with stats on the back. And we shipped out our first order, and not long after that, I got a cease and desist from St. Vincent's lawyers, who were very nice, very cool. And they're like, this is a cool thing you're doing, but like, that's her likeness. So sorry, can you not send those out anymore? They were very sweet. They didn't, like, you know, threaten. I mean, they were implying legal action, but none was taken. But I'm like, now we've made it. Cease and desist from St. Vincent's lawyers. Good times. Noel, you're on deck. Gigi, welcome back to the conversation.
Howdy, howdy. Okay, so I love Mitski, and that was very not fair to my feelings. It may or may not be simultaneously not my 13th reason, but my 13th reason at the same time, because they're so beautiful. Yeah, I just saw Mitski in Detroit, and I was really sad because you could have seen a tumbleweed rolling through the bar. And I walked up to them and I was like, hey, did everyone just get their drinks already? And they were like, no, it's just a younger crowd. And I was like, neat. So cool. Suicidal tendencies. I'm gonna read something not in that vein, but in the vein of music, so that's fun. And this is another poem that FreezeRay accepted, and that I was like kind of sad that I didn't put in the book. I don't know, it's like an outtake. I was writing a lot about Ariana Grande and Pete Davidson at that time, which now, you know, it's just come full circle. Like, there's so much going on. Who knows what's up with this man? I don't know. Maybe he's just very nice. But I wrote an ode to Thank You Next. So this is that poem. Okay. Ode to Ariana Grande's Thank You Next. pop hook gospel choir of the Get Free, personification of glitter cry, get through, get the fuck back up again, better bad bitch, more Elle Woods than ever, bend and snap the past in half, hold all the power in my French tip fist, heartbreak has shattered this glass prism perfume bottle heart again and again, only proving there are gardens full inside me. Bloombox all of this broken, rom-com rebirth, mixtape from my own hand to the other, wallpaper this femme heart into teen girl bedroom. Kirsten Dunst dance party, so moved by the spirit of my own hot pink holy, I am a chorus of bed jumps, mattress spring heartbeat, tender truth and juicy couture. Oh God, my joy is a banger. Portrait of self-love as a Billboard #1. Get butterflies when I see myself in the mirror brushing my teeth. Kris Jenner, camera in hand, my own cheerleader while I'm Mean Girls talent show ho. I am doing so fucking great, sweetie. Watch me First Wives Club through my tears, giggle at my ghosts, my healing, a Madonna track heard through a closet door. Dream House, Razzle Red Tongue, Jenna Rink, big time magazine editor, tough bitch, choreograph my comeback, bop through all my breaking, still just as dangerous woman, ready for the better discussions, a love that never leaves. I thank you next, my Hello Kitty Band-Aid heart. Move into a new one where there are magazine collages on the walls, overabundance of dreams I learned from the movies. There is no denying I have survived it all. All I do is glow, sing, dance. All I do is dance. Thank you.
Gigi, thank you. I love that poem. Obviously, we published it. Okay, we're going to keep the love going. Julia, you are on deck. And Noel, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks. Woo! This is, oh, my heart, amazing. I'm just gonna keep going with the theme of music, and also Gigi's theme of moms. So this poem needs some background. So in the 80s, in New York City, Chicago, and Miami, there was this music genre that started called freestyle. It was like Latin, just electronic. It was very niche. It was amazing, and my mom was like the biggest proponent of this music. And one of my like goals in my life is to spread the good message of this genre of music, because it means so much to me and my mom has instilled it in me. And so you would call a fan of freestyle music a freestyle freak. And so that is the title of this poem. And it's a persona poem. It's in the voice of my mom. Or no, actually it's not. It's in the voice of, I guess, another version of me. But it starts with a quote. And the quote is, when I asked my grandmother how she handled my mother, she said, "Nene, I did some unspeakable things for rock and roll." Freestyle freak. You don't know what freestyle music is. You're too young, too unfamiliar with hybridity, too flooded by forward-facing genres. Freestyle was very New York. You are not very New York. You could only become New York if you met my mother. My mother is puro New York. My mother obsesses over things. She obsesses over fences, over curfews, over crowds of wannabe pendejas and their false idolatry. Your mother only wishes she could be this obsessed. Show me your CD collection. Actually, no. Show me your cassette tapes. No, even better. Show me you have the limited edition 1983 vinyl of Let the Music Play by Shannon. Exactly. You don't. You're a poser. Do you even know the words to Silent Morning, Maria, Because of You? Have you followed Judy Torres's career, like her whole career? Do you even listen to her on 103.5 KTU? Are you even one of the 7 people who went to her radio host signing at Stewart Leonard's in Westchester County with your unappreciative middle schooler son? I didn't think so. If you haven't dug your nails into Noel's studded leather vest or proudly claimed to be friends with Lisa's daughter? How can you say you've even lived? Yes, you heard me. I bet your mother doesn't even name her obsessions, just hides them away. Has she even snuck across state borders to cry, scream into a tour van? Does your kid even know the mantra? Oh my God, I have to tell you the mantra? How embarrassing. Obviously, it's if you scream loud enough, anyone will turn around. Did you have your son search 4 different hotels until they found TKA just so you could introduce them to Tony in the middle of 87th Street? My mother was proud, prouder than proud. I bet your kid hasn't even met a real celebrity, hasn't ever broken records with their tone deaf love. What? You thought we could sing? Girly, we don't sing, we praise. Thank you so much, y'all.
So good. Thank you. There you go. Multiverse is real. I love it. It's the best. Yeah, you brought back a lot of music retail memories for me, brother, with that one. I used to work at Warehouse Music in LA, and there were whole sections of freestyle and like the lowrider greatest hits and all those, and we could never keep them in stock. It's the good times. Thank you for that. Stephen, you are on deck, and Julia, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with y'all. This has been such a great show. You know, I've been a big fan of Gigi for years, and also getting to see Joshua and Noel's poems also for the first time in person is great. And y'all are great. Thank you for coming out. I was gonna do a Game of Thrones poem, but I'm throwing that out the window and doing a music poem because it seems to be the theme of this round. So. A person writes in response to pictures of me posted without my knowledge or consent on a bad eyeliner Reddit thread, Amy Winehouse is rolling in her grave right now. And like that, Amy Winehouse magics herself back into existence, crawls out of her coffin like a terrifyingly gorgeous zombie, the badass undead. With a cigarette dangling from her ghoulish lips, she makes her way to this particular Reddit user's house to clock them in their stupid fucking face. Amy hunts down all of them. Every person who has ever called my makeup abhorrent, howled in the laugh, let cruelness crunch in their teeth. Her need to pummel each asshole's face consumes. Amy Winehouse appoints herself my guardian. We swap liner techniques, make our wings crawl like ivy up our faces. Amy Winehouse, patron saint of not giving a flying fuck until you piss her the fuck off. In Amy's presence, I feel safety net relief, home remedy calm, soulful punk content. It's almost like I didn't break down crying on top a red New Mexico mountain after my friend sent me the Reddit thread. Like I didn't go a whole week without touching my eyeliner, wore nothing but a bare face. I was made to feel ashamed of this aesthetic I've spent years nurturing. This style I point at and say, mine. It suddenly didn't matter that the girl behind the Safeway deli with the kind eyes or the cute barista at the Powell Starbucks always coo over my art. No, my self-worth tied up in what strangers must think of me. Say all of the good, and my ears will only hear the worst. Make me regret everything about my everything. What an embarrassment I make of myself. What a shallow thing. To eat up every word about my appearance and then take it as the truth. Come crawling back for more. Amy Winehouse sees all of this and pours me the strongest drink, says fuck the scum, says fuck the swarm. Amy Winehouse crowns me a beautiful melody that plays every time I leave the house with wings as sharp as knives. She knights me into something that does not quake. I seance Amy every time I take the cap off my liquid eyeliner. I resurrect her when the cat eyes caress my eyebrows. Hear her, how she cackles as I admit to my fright. But do my makeup anyway. When I mirror her ghoulish grin, apply the liner a little askew, but all kinds of brash and loud and fuck off. It sounds like Amy's fist colliding with the face of another motherfucker who had it coming to them. Thank y'all so much. Yay.
Yay. Damn, that's good.
I'll leave.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone, I can only speak for me, but there's no one in this room that isn't a tremendous Amy Winehouse fan. So thank you for that. Steven, how we doing? It's your time.
Okay.
Yeah, you're muted.
Okay.
I didn't mute it.
All right. I don't know how technology works. So I mean, this has been a delight and definitely an honor to be here with all y'all, to share poems with all y'all. It's incredible. I haven't read in the digital space a lot. And I mean, I'm sure there's a number of reasons. I put a Band-Aid on my head as one of the reasons right there. Just sort of like the challenge of being able to see myself read. It's really daunting. I wanted to stay in conversation with the poems as was spoken about earlier. And this round is maybe the only round that I feel like I could really do it. I am going to read yet another persona piece in a silly voice. And I want to say also before I start this poem that I do have poems in my natural speaking voice. Like I can write a little bit, not as a character, but this space in particular feels like one that invites that. I know, like, I don't think I've got a lot. I feel like maybe I've submitted to FreezeRay like a couple times and maybe been published once. I really don't know. I've talked with Rob a lot about the possibility of putting something together, and then I have no follow through. So
we got you in the wrestling issue. We got you in Hawk and Animal.
Yeah, I'm in Hawk and Animal because I wrote some wrestling poems. This is none of that. But this was a poem that was mentioned earlier and it felt relevant. It's also on music. It is a letter format. It is a character piece. So I'm going to drop my standard speaking voice right now and go into this poem, which is a letter from Meatwad to William Frederick Fred Durst. Dear Fred, the other day I was rolling in this chord that Coral bought that he doesn't use, so I play in it with my dolls. Do you have any dolls, Fred? I bet you do. Hell, your first album is called $3 Bill, y'all. That's a hot album. But I was playing your other album, Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water. You know, the one with rolling on it. Keep rolling, 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 rolling. Keep rolling, rolling, rolling. Did you know that I could turn into a hot dog? Is that why you named your album that? I read that you were in a gas station and that they had a bunch of different flavored waters, but you were looking for hot dog flavor and you couldn't find it. But you could have just made your own. That's what I don't understand. All you need is some hot dogs. You know, one time I ate 48 hot dogs, but then Frylock wouldn't let me swim in Carl's pool because he thought I'd get a cramp and be gassy. But I wanted to point out that you guys use gas for inspiration. You know what else is inspired? That other album you had, the significant one, with that song "And Together Now" that you did with Method Man, where it was like you had that music video where you were inside a video game. I was inside a video game once. Shake got me stuck in there. It was crazy. He's always messing with me. Seriously, Fred, what's a homeboy to do? I tried to get my running crew rolling so we could go bust a cap in his butt, you know, because we gangsters. But then my posse dissolved. I know you've been there. When Wes left and you replaced him with Mike, only the results varied. And then he left too. A rough patch like that could make you turn to anyone. Hey, Fred, did you know that I can turn into an igloo too? It's cold being that igloo. Cold like the continued reception that your albums received in the press. Like the arms of various teenage starlets that you tried unsuccessfully to find love in. Like how during the set at Woodstock 99, the kids missed the message of peace and your song Break Stuff and they started to destroy the stage. The violence that seemed to follow your band from year to year, festival to festival, fist fighting with Scott Stapp from Creed, that poor girl dying in that mosh pit in Sydney. Have you managed to find peace yet, Fred? Did making up with Wes help you to bring the ruckus? Were you able to cut through all the outside noise, turn on your jam box and just rock out? Sometimes I turn up my jam box that loud and then Frylock will be like, Meatwad, why are you listening to that audible feces, which I think means making money off of cars or something. But I know that you're not about the money, Fred. That's what I like about you. You do it all for the nookie so that you can take that cookie. Hey, what kind of cookie did you take? I like double fudge with those big old fudge chunks. Oh, and M&Ms. Hey, whatever happened to that guy that you were friends with at the MTV Music Video Awards? Is he mad at you or something? Shake's always mad at me. One time he tried to make me take off my jam box. Do you believe that, Fred? How am I supposed to jam without my jam box? But I guess, Fred, what I'm saying is that you just have to have faith. I mean, it probably would be nice for you to touch somebody. I know not everybody has got a body like me. Did you know that I could turn into a hot dog or an igloo? One time I turned into Abe Lincoln. I don't even know how I did that. Do you know who Abe Lincoln was, Fred? He was a bodybuilder in Illinois who lived on log cabin syrup. Free syrup, Fred. That's the future. Thank you guys so much.
Oh my God, Stephen. That was a brilliant way to end this evening. Yeah, I think maybe next time we'll just have an all persona night. I think that might be the move. That was delightful. We'll see. That'd be awfully hard to curate, wouldn't it? At any rate, man, that's gonna wrap it up. I feel. Thank you all so much for coming out. Thank you, poets, for sharing your work. You know, it's super rewarding. It's been super rewarding to continue to put out a journal that I feel has tried really hard to get new voices into the world. I hope that we're continuing to do it. But it's for an old nerd like me, it's really touching, and it means a lot to hear so many amazing voices. Thank you for being part of the FreezeRay family, if you will. I know that's hyperbole. It's like a Marvel Comics thing. And we'll be doing this again in maybe like about 3 months or so, about quarterly, maybe. We'll try that. That's it. See you soon on the lines on the webs. And I don't know. I don't really have a onward. Have a good night, y'all.
Live long and prosper.
I'm going to stop this little recording.